Is it wrong to value your pet's life more than a stranger's life? Living paycheck to paycheck, I often find that I put my dog first, even before considering my own needs. If I have the last piece of meat or a bag of dog food, she gets it without question. Since she came into my life, my dog has been one of the few constants. She is my loyal and faithful companion, who stays with me no matter what. Our bond is so deep that I would make any sacrifice to keep her by my side. I remember the day we met as if it were yesterday. I was at a gas station, a simple, ordinary moment that completely changed the course of my life. She appeared out of nowhere, all dirty and with a hungry look in her eyes. On impulse, she jumped into the passenger seat of my car, as if she knew that was where she belonged. That gesture touched me in a way I never expected. I was already going through a very delicate time in my life, and somehow, it felt like she knew I needed someone. Or maybe she needed a home just as much as I needed company. Since then, she has been my faithful companion. We've been through many tough times together. Periods of financial insecurity, apartment changes, days of anguish, and sleepless nights. When I needed to find a new place to live, I almost ended up homeless. The apartments within my financial reach had a clear rule: no pets allowed. I spent weeks trying to find an alternative, even considering renting just a room temporarily if necessary, just so I wouldn't have to part with her. Fortunately, after a lot of struggle and searching, I found a small apartment where she was welcome, and our home was preserved. She is the reason I get up every day. Even on days when discouragement seems to consume me, her presence motivates me to get out of bed. She is a routine that does me good. Every day we go out for a walk, and each step beside her helps me keep my mind in check. On nights when the silence is deafening, she is there, lying at my feet, reminding me that I am not alone. Every walk with her, every moment we share, reminds me that I need to stay well, for both her and myself. She seems to understand every emotion of mine. On sad days, when the weight of everything becomes hard to bear, she comes closer, resting her head on my lap, or simply staying by my side. And that simple gesture offers a comfort that no words could. Sometimes, it feels like she knows what I need without me having to say anything. Her presence has made me realize that there are things worth fighting for, that I have someone who depends on me and needs my care and love. I never imagined that such a small, quiet being could do so much for my mental health. She has done for me what no professional ever could. With her, I discovered the value of silence and the peace that comes from unconditional love, without judgments or expectations. Many people don't understand this bond, but she gives me a sense of purpose that no human relationship has ever given me. She asks for nothing but affection and attention, but gives me in return a loyalty that is priceless. I can't imagine my life without her, and that's a truth I carry with pride. She is my family, my partner, my companion, the being who brought stability and calm to my daily life. I know that if I ever had to choose between her and anyone else, she would come first without hesitation. Am I an idiot? Story 2.
Am I the jerk for serving my brother-in-law's dinner with toy utensils? I moved into my sister's house after my parents kicked me out for coming out. Another story. They said I could stay here temporarily until I go back to normal, which I don't think will happen. Anyway, I've been living with my sister and her husband for about a month now. For context, my sister does everything around the house. I've started helping here and there, while also taking care of my 2-year-old niece, and she's currently 6 months pregnant. My brother-in-law doesn't do anything because, as he says, he's the breadwinner, but honestly, I think he's taking things too far. For example, he expects her to start his laundry as soon as he takes off his clothes, have dinner on the table the moment he walks in, prepare his shower, and so on. They argue a lot because my sister is exhausted and overwhelmed. I usually put on my headphones and mind my own business, but 2 nights ago, things got intense when he got home, so I went to see what was going on. It turns out my brother-in-law was complaining about dinner, and my sister was too tired to get up. The food was already cooked, but he wanted her to serve it. I told my sister I'd handle it, but instead of using regular dishes, I used my niece's toy utensils, a toy cup, plate, fork, knife, and a tiny napkin. I put his food on the toy plate and his drink in the toy cup while he was in the shower. When he came to the kitchen and sat down, he looked at the plate for a few seconds. Then he looked at me and asked what the hell was going on and if I was joking. I told him that if he wanted to act like a helpless child, he should be treated like one. He started yelling, and my sister came in. He threw the napkin and stormed off, saying I disrespected him and that he'd tell my parents about what I did. My sister saw what I'd done and started laughing. I went to my room, but the argument didn't stop, and now he's waiting for an apology from me for interfering in his marriage and pulling a ridiculous stunt. I might be the jerk for it, but I was just so angry for my sister and tired of the nightly fights over dinner. Living here, I see how wonderful and resilient my sister truly is. She has always been a source of support for me, especially after what happened with our parents. She's the type to help everyone and always sees the best in people, even in her husband. But honestly, their relationship is clearly toxic. He treats my sister like a servant, expecting her to obey his orders just because he brings home a paycheck. He thinks being the provider entitles him to control every aspect of her life, which is beyond frustrating to witness. I remember a time when we were younger, and my sister took me to an amusement park after I'd had a tough week at school. She always found a way to make people around her feel loved and special, even when she was going through her own struggles. Now, I see how tired and worn out she is, and it breaks my heart. She deserves to be treated with the respect and kindness she shows everyone else. She deserves someone who values and respects her strength and kindness. I wish she could see herself the way I see her. I wish she realized just how special she is and how much she deserves to be happy. Watching the constant arguments and seeing the way he disrespects her makes my anger boil over. I don't understand how someone can treat such a wonderful person so cruelly. He acts like just because he's the breadwinner, he has the right to treat her like a maid. It's unbearable to watch her go through this day after day. That night, when I served dinner with the toy utensils, it was a moment of sheer frustration and helplessness. I was trying to show him just how ridiculous and childish his attitude is. Sure, maybe it wasn't the most mature way to handle things, but I was fed up with seeing my sister being treated like this. I wanted him to understand, even for a second, how he makes her feel every day. My sister laughed, and for a moment, I saw a glimpse of the happy girl she used to be. But reality hit quickly when he started yelling. Now he wants me to apologize, but for what? For standing up for the person who has always been there for me? For trying to show her that she deserves respect? I know my sister won't demand respect from him. She's patient and tries to see the best in people. But I can't stay silent anymore. She deserves so much more than this, and if he can't see that, I'll keep trying to help her realize it. Because she's an amazing person who deserves happiness, far more than he could ever understand.